we won't go to the inner high. And they're like, no, we'll wait here. And whenever we get your tire, we'll win anyway. Because that's what teams do.
Right.
And first off, I think that's just deeply unrealistic. There are lots of things that are unrealistic about Yo Opeda, but it's also just not true to the characters. Yeah, they bring up the example of Inoda going back and stopping during the inner high, but that was one character. That wasn't the entire team didn't stop. One person stopped in order to get the team back together, which is reasonable in the moment. There's no argument for having the entire team stop. The only way it's justified is that Teshima, in his infinite captain wisdom, can completely understand all of the odds of all his opponents, and he knows exactly how fast they're going to go and exactly what pace they'll be, so he knows that they can just stop and wait, because he knows exactly how good they are, apparently. And so that's a little too omniscient for me to take seriously.
Yeah, and I do understand that. I'm going to defend 2 points there. First of all, I am going to defend the fact that Teshima just let Kaburagi, like, run out into the front, you know, because he's the ace and that's what he needs to do. Maybe that's not what the ace actually does, but if Teshima's plan was to kind of bring Kaburagi down a notch, I can see why he would say, okay, you go ahead and do that, because he would need to see why, because he needs to kind of break his mentality that that's the one, you know, that's what the ace does, is just the one who constantly wins.
Well, yeah, I guess, and it was never said out loud because Teshima can never admit to making a mistake or misinterpreting what's going to happen. But I assume if he were allowed to be honest, he would just assume that, oh, well, he can't actually stay in front by himself the entire race.
Right.
So, like,
you have to wonder if there was, like, some, like, if, like, we just missed out on some entirely other convoluted plan that Teshima had because of the fact that he had a flat tire. Like, would we have gotten, like, an entirely different plot here if Kaburagi had just remained out in front and Teshima had some completely separate scheme? And that's kind of the weird thing about this episode, is that there's no real implication that Teshima actually, like, oh, shoot, well, my original plan's not working, but gotta wing it now.
Yeah, exactly. No, he's just calm and confident, and then he throws his water bottle back at the guy behind him in order to make him so angry that it destroys the unity of the pack. You know, like, that... what if it didn't? Would they have lost? No, then why include it? Because they end up catching up by the 9th lap and all getting first and 6th place like they always do. What do you think about the difference between the prelims for this season and from the first season? Because in the first season, they just had the third years ride it as a 3-person team, so they didn't even have other members. Whereas now they felt the need to bring Kaburagi.
So the funny thing was, I was actually, like, as I was watching this episode, I was actually trying to remind myself, did we actually see the prelims last season? Because it's been a while. It's been a few years since I watched Yo Opeda, so I actually didn't actually remember that. But I guess what I kind of took this as was because the prelims, I guess, in that regard, have always been used as sort of the hype moment for the team. Like, this is supposed to be the moment where Sohoku makes its big mark. And I guess that's why I was actually relatively okay with this otherwise beyond bizarre and, like, just not well thought out plan by Teshima. Is that at the very least, what it does do is it pretty well establishes Sohoku as being, you know, there's been a lot of talk, you know, throughout the entirety of this season, like, oh, you know, is Sohoku going to be, are they just going to be like the one-time champs? Are they really going to be like that dangerous? Or like, you know, because, you know, their major players have left this year, you know, are they going to be able to carry that on? And I guess what I liked about this episode is that it did a great job with conveying, like, okay, this team is like, no, they are the real deal still. Yeah. Now they, like you mentioned before, they only have the 6 members now, rather than the just the 3 members that they managed to win last season. I don't think that's necessarily a big deal because of the way that they raised the stakes with how they managed to pull off their victory, because of how desperate the situation was. Because of, it's like they literally they could be kicked out of the race if they get lapped, basically. And it's like they are racing against themselves being lapped. And, I think, all things considered, that's a pretty great way to convey in a racing series, like, as a big hype. Essentially, it's like, yeah, this is the team, like, they're really coming into their own now. Like, yeah, they're a real force to be reckoned with. And it's like, we did kind of need that reestablishment that, especially with how down and out Sahoku has been portrayed this entire first half of the season. Like, we did kind of need that moment to kind of bring themselves back up.
Yeah. The rest of the episode, though, is so immediately forgettable. So they introduce Komori on Kyoto Fushima, or Midoshi's team, right, who is just there to serve as the first fellow rider that Midosuke actually respects. He seems to be an evil masseuse. I guess every show needs one of those. And then you get some lines from Hakone's large blue-haired rider, Yobashi, who spends the entirety exclaiming loudly about their greatness and chewing on because that's what you do when you're big and strong. You're loud and you love eating meat without utensils. And so that was pretty much nothing. Like, I didn't feel like any of that added much. I didn't think introducing them that way told us anything you couldn't have told us a little more subtly.
Right. That's been the problem with Hakone this season. Like, okay, you know what? For all of the qualms we have of Midosuji coming back and being, basically being the villain again, despite the fact that his character arc is over, at the very least, they're doing stuff with Kyoto Fushima to actually, make them seem like they are growing as a team. We're actually starting to get to know newer characters on this team with different abilities. We get the sense that, okay, it's like, okay, as goofy as this whole evil masseuse thing is, at the very least, it's something that's new to their team. All we have gotten about Hakone is just, oh yeah, no, we're super good.
Yeah.
Trust us.
More of the same.
More of the same, basically. It's like, yes, we did have that entire 2-episode arc about their final ride, but if that was supposed to be, the moment we're supposed to see, it's like, oh no, Hakone's, the real threat, they kind of failed at that, because, we really didn't gain anything from that ride either. Outside of, I guess, Izumida beat Shinkai once, and even though Shinkai was literally beaten every single race he was in last season, it doesn't.
And now we get Shinkai's little brother on the Hakone team, so you immediately replace him with a similar character with similar character traits. So no one ever leaves, and we can all just be happy with our stability. Speaking of happy, the finale of All Out made me happy, so could you tell me about that one?
Okay, sure thing. Okay, so basically the first half ends, Jinko's basically up by 12 points. Essentially, they have their kind of mid-game huddle, and Ryo and Koja's like, okay, y'all realize that the issue here is that you're not taking Jinko seriously at all. Finally, we get Matsuo, he finally cries out for the team to kind of, finally come out and succeed. Mikado ends up scoring a try against Jinko, and then finally we get, just so that they can finally take down Jinko once and for all, we get Ryujin thrown onto the team and starts doing JoJo poses as he enters the field. And basically, It's a shame that this is the last episode, because this entire episode is there to build up Ryujin, because his presence just completely destroys Jinko. Because literally he just is able to barrel through every single player of the team without like any effort whatsoever.
I think he scores like 40 points effectively.
Yeah, basically. I think Mikado scores the one try, but then every other try is like by Ryujin by himself.
Well, he facilitates a few. He does pass a couple of times, but it's almost entirely due to
the point is Ryujin is like crazy powerful, and Jinko is nowhere near ready to take on to take them on yet. At the very end of the game, even though all hope is lost, they kind of pick themselves back up, and they still try and give it their all against Ryujin. And Sekizan tries to like stand up to Ryujin, and Ryujin he manages to hold him back for just a moment, but Ryujin still knocks him away at the very end. Strangely enough, Ryujin is actually pretty impressed with Jinko. He actually mentions he likes the fact that they kept it, they didn't actually give up, and he likes playing against teams like that.
You mean teams that go all out?
I was getting to that.
Which is what he said.
Yeah, I know. That comes up a lot this episode. I ain't done.
Yeah.
And so at the very end, towards the very end of, it's like the very end of the training camp, they all go up this hill that's there. And they all kind of reflect on their time together, and they all talk.
There's a chill in the Everybody deserves a second shot. Go ahead. Death should be the end. You don't have
An enemy has been slain.
something is rotten here.
An enemy has been slain.
Sleep. Some call it magic. Keep moving on. Don't mix it. I'll sleep.
An ally has been slain.
Everybody deserves a second.
An enemy has been slain. Your turret has been destroyed.
Looks so past is just a list.
Has destroyed a turret.
Don't scare me.
An ally has been slain. Ally has been slain. Has been slain.
Nothing colder than death.
Your turret has been destroyed.
look so grim.
Ally has been slain. Enemy killing spree. Your turret has been destroyed. Has been destroyed.
Something is right. Keep moving on.
Slain an enemy.
There's a chill in the air. Y'all call it magic. I call it good aim. There's a chill in the air. Go ahead. Scare me. Second shot. Don't look so grim.
Killing spree.
nothing colder than death. You don't have the heart for this.
Aced.
I'll sleep when they're dead.
An enemy has been slain.
Go ahead. Keep moving on. I call it good aim. Keep moving on. I'll sleep when they're dead. look so grim. Death should be the end. Everybody needs a second shot. Some call it magic. I call it good aim.
Has been slain.
Go ahead.
An enemy has been slain. An enemy has been slain.
There's a chill in the air.
You have slain an enemy.
Don't look so grim. Past is just a ghost. Nothing colder than death.
Has been slain.
Keep moving on.
Your inhibitor is respawning soon.
cure